Hi guys, welcome to the ring, welcome to Auto Top NL, and welcome to Ring Reviews. As you can see, the Nürburgring Castle right there, and we are here today with the BMW M3 F80 by INTRAX suspension. So as you guys know, the M3 F80, a future classic, and today this specific car is actually almost stock. As you can see, nothing really too special about it, just your regular everyday of the mill M3 F80. And this specific example is actually very high mileage. So in kilometers, we're looking at 242,000 kilometers. So for you guys in the USA, that's 149,000 miles, which is actually a crazy high mileage example. But as you can see by the looks of it, these cars are now 10 years old and they're still looking really good to this date, in my opinion. So why this specific car? In my opinion, and I might be a bit biased because I have an M4 myself of this generation, but the F series M3s and M4s are really good cars, but they have their shortcomings in my opinion. And one of them on these cars is the suspension and also the steering feel. This is actually something where the boys, Max, Martijn and I really agree on, that the chassis is really capable and good, but the suspension and the steering, it just misses that feel which now the new generation G series does have. So then what is it about this specific car, why we want to try it out here today at the ring? Well, this car and this suspension setup used by INTRAX as their development car. So what does that mean exactly? This car sits on INTRAX 12K ARC dampers. So the 12K is basically their step-in damper with ARC, which is called anti-roll control. And I will show you really quick what that is all about, and I will show you on the inside here really soon. So we're gonna open up the hood. And what you will see here is these reservoirs and this electronic module right here. So what does that mean and what does that do? Well, of course, this is a coilover set, as they call it, on coilovers or regular coilovers in the front and a separated spring with coilover in the rear, which I will double check right now because I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, so as you can see also here, the reservoirs with the spring and the damper right there on the outside. But what does that exactly mean? So this car is, like I said, equipped with the 12K with the ARC, anti-roll control, which is a separate kind of reservoir or damper that sits on the body of the shock, and it controls the way the car rolls. So on some coilovers that you can get, the ride becomes really stiff and really harsh on the road. You don't want that, because most people will still be using this car as a daily, and that is where this setup is really going to make the difference compared to your stock or maybe a regular aftermarket brand. Well, where does the magic then really happen? It happens within these reservoirs and these control modules. These control modules from within the car, which I will show you in a minute, have the adjustability to control the firmness of the damper by 10 clicks. So with these clicks, you adjust the bump and the rebound. It's actually divided by a 70-30 ratio. So 70% of your bump is changed and 30% of your rebound is changed. And I will show you how that is done on the inside. So as you can see here, these electronic modules. And if we then get in the car, we have this control module right here. 10 settings available, so 1 being the softest, 10 being the hardest, of course. It gives you the possibility to adjust the rides to your liking. 1 is actually more comfortable than these dampers are from factory, and 10 gets you really close to that race car feeling, I would say. 242,000 kilometers on this specific chassis. So as you can see also on the module, front and rear, the 10 steps, giving you that, yeah, that adjustability that is really gonna make a big difference in the ride comfort, in the way this car handles. Also, in my opinion, with these coilovers, but I will show you as soon as we go on track, you will see that the car in general has much less roll than it used to have before. So normally what you will always see is when you go through a hard corner with a car like this, the chassis is really gonna, you know, roll from side to side. Now with this setup it won't do that anymore, but it also doesn't loses its comfort when you're in that first setting. Also in my opinion it really improves the steering feel. I think in the F series in general the steering feel is a bit on the vaguer side of cars. I think a good setup like this from INTRAX really takes it to the next level, makes it feel much more planted, much more dynamic in your hands. So we will be driving today on Michelin Pilot Super Sports. They are a bit on the older side, but they still have enough thread left on them to take them out today at the ring. So during this drive I will show you guys what this suspension really is all about, how the adjustability works, how it changes the behavior of the car, and I will also give you my final verdict. But in general I'm very excited about this suspension setup. Also what is really good to note is that this coilover setup sits on the factory top mount. So I might be able to show you actually. So as you can see right here, this is the factory top mount. So the coilover sits in that factory top mount instead of going for an all custom aluminum, also which includes a pillow ball top mount. And this is also what keeps you that comfort which this car has from factory. So very important factor why this setup feels so good. So yeah, if you are looking for, you know, taking your M3 or your M4 or maybe your M2 of the earlier generations, and also maybe now the LCIs coming up, because these cars are getting more and more affordable and higher mileage. And I think we've now come to a point where you're going to be able to pick these up in Europe at around the 35 to 40k mark. It will be closely in that range. And if you really want to upgrade that overall feel of the car, a good suspension setup, and especially this INTRAX 12K ARC setup is really going to make you rethink on how your daily should drive. But I will show you on track today what it's capable of doing, go through all the steps, and yeah, I will show you guys. Okay, so guys, we're gonna enter the ring now. I'm gonna put the car, so it's engine mode, in sport, and actually I'm gonna leave the steering in comfort. I don't have to mess around with the dampers now because they are no longer working, and that is now controlled by the module right here. So I'm gonna leave it for now in 1, in its softest setting, and see what it can do. And during the ride I will change it a bit and tell you guys what I feel. So first, big compression. Feels actually very solid. So like I said, the car sits on some older Super Sport, so we're not gonna do anything too crazy here. I will turn off traction control because it will interfere like a maniac. So in this first setting, in the softest setting, the car will, and I can already feel, dive quite a bit. But actually for the ring that is not too bad, because yeah, it's a very bumpy track. And I can already feel the understeer. So I'm gonna ask Martin here if he can turn it up for me to 10. So we're gonna go all the way to 10 now, to the hardest setting.
It's my specialty.
Because driving and messing with settings, yeah, both on 10. So let's see, we're gonna take some curves now. Oh, you can immediately tell the difference. The car becomes much more, I'd say bouncy is the right word. But also immediately you feel that now the car becomes much more planted in that sense through the compressions. So we're gonna see, oh yeah, what a difference that is, eh? A major difference. So you feel now that the car is much more, oh, we got a yellow here. The car immediately is much more responsive to the steering right now, and also as you feel over the curbstones, it's actually a bit more settled. So before the car comes down and then it tries to go up a little again, it's trying to smooth out all the bumps that you hit. But in this hardest setting, it really becomes a different beast. So that's quite.
But I guess one is really for the road.
Yeah. So the one setting is really for that road and super comfort use. That 10 is as hardcore as you can go. I'm not sure if I would recommend that 10 setting on a track like this because of all the bumps and all the flowing, but we're gonna change it up in a few corners and see what the golden in between is. So we're gonna go down through the famous foxhole. Let's see how it's gonna do under compression here. This can get a bit hairy. Oh wow, that feels incredible. So I'm gonna let this car behind me pass because he's quite a bit faster. So we're gonna now change it up, so I'm gonna give it 1, 2, 3 clicks back. So we're gonna go to 7. And you immediately feel that now, in my opinion, the front end of the car starts gaining a bit more grip because it's able to transfer the weight a bit better now than before. Especially here, these are all a bit quicker. Yeah, you can definitely.
Wow.
The car in front of me
so close.
Almost went off. Oh yeah, these brakes are not having the greatest time of their life, I can tell you that. No, I have to say that now I'm gonna go maybe one more click back. So we're gonna go back to 6. I'm gonna have to be a bit careful here because the brakes are fading. Because yeah, everything is bone and bone stock. So you really, every click now again, I went back 1 click in that dampening. And I really feel the change again where it's even more softer. I think this is a bit of the limit as far as soft as I want to go on this track, because now you can also feel under braking the car dives quite a bit more than it did before. It is really this is a major upgrade compared to a stock damper of an F series. This is day and night. I would say that if you've driven one of these cars for many years and you're thinking of getting rid of it, try something like this. Try an INTRAX setup with this adjustability and revive your F series, revive your M3 or M4, because this really is a game changer. The overall dynamics of the car completely change in a way which you now, in my opinion, experience in like a G series. It's much more beefy, there's much more trust in the car, it's more comfortable also, as crazy as it is to say, because usually when you go to a more racing focused setup, things don't become more comfortable, but in this situation they actually do. And we're now gonna come up to my favorite corner and probably everybody else's. We're gonna go into the carousel. It starts understeering a bit. So let's see how it handles the carousel. Oh wow, that is grippy through there. that is some grip right there.
That is impressive.
That is really impressive. So we like to keep Donald's car today in one piece, because we still need to drive it home after this. But I have to say, Donald INTRAX for an M4, for an F chassis that is completely stock, apart from the suspension setup, from the coilovers, very impressive. Also, we drove of course here on the road to the track, and no discomfort. Like I said before, it is actually at that. It just eats it. So, what's that? So, I'm not gonna try to overcook it here, because if we get overly confident, we're gonna send it here into one of the walls, which we are not too keen on, of course. Camera shutting off. So we're gonna now enter, this is basically the final sector of the track where it's all downhill, and we're gonna have a little bit of a jump here. So I don't want to send it too hard, but I do want to test what it's capable of doing. And it really catches that jump really nicely. Some cars can get really upset with their suspension there. And also now here we're gonna have that tricky down the hill and see how it, wow, that is impressive. So here we're gonna go through all these compressions. Wow, that feels really good. And we now have,
it sounds like an F-Series, but it doesn't feel like
it doesn't feel at all like an F-Series in any way. This is, it's day and night. So we're gonna send it here to the mini carousel, see how it, very impressive. That is very impressive. Very impressive for a car that is as stock as this is. Obviously the brakes are not up to par with how much the car gets beaten here today, but I have to say this setup, this adjustability right here, day and night compared to a stock F-Series. Really impressive. Big thank you to Donald, big thank you to INTRAX for letting us try out this car and showing the people what it's really capable of. So big shout out to those guys. If you are an M3 F80 or an M4 F82 owner, hit them up for one of these setups. If you're willing to go to that next level, if you don't even,
I mean, everyone is going stage 2 downpipe stuff. It's not making the car any better. The drivetrain is nearly perfect on an F-Series. The suspension, however, is not, and everybody's spending their money on the drivetrain where it shouldn't be spent.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
We both own one of these F-Series.
Yeah.
We know the Achilles heel,
yeah,
and INTRAX really have tackled that.
Yeah, I think they've done an incredible job.
They did.
So, like I said again, if you are looking to be serious about your suspension setup, if you really want to improve your M3 or your M4 F-Series, hit the people up at INTRAX and see if they can help you out with a setup like this to really revive your car. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time, and hopefully something really cool coming up soon.
Sure.
Who knows? See you next time. Bye bye.